All right. Sorry, it's first time. A little nervous. All right, so I have a friend named Thomas Sheedy. He is the founder of an organization called Atheist for Liberty. He is openly conservative, but he's mostly interested in atheist activism and normalizing atheism in all sects, including the conservative movement. He seems to be under the impression that a lot of conservatives, including you, are more hesitant to work with atheist organizations. Is there any truth to that?
Yes and no. I mean, if you're an atheist and you want to be part of the conservative movement, go ahead. But you must be an honest atheist and acknowledge that morality is definitionally subjective without a belief in God. You cannot be an atheist and believe in objective morality. It is an impossibility. And true atheists will acknowledge this. At some point, you have an ought claim. Well, things ought to be a certain way. We as Christians, or we that believe in the divine, we have is claims, that murder is wrong. Whereas an atheist will say, well, murder ought to be wrong, because you can't have an objective definition if there is not a divine eternal power over you. So look, if an atheist wants to fight alongside of us to end abortion or to try and end the massacring of our kids that's called gender-affirming care, or if an atheist wants to march alongside of us to say no men and female sports, they're more than welcome to be able to do that. But Atheists for Liberty is an interesting phrase, because I don't believe you can have liberty without God, because liberty is not man's idea, it is God's idea. That's just my own personal belief, and it's also the belief of everything that built this nation. But yes, I know a lot of good atheists. The question, though, is how do you know they're good? It's because you're appealing to a moral authority above just the secular material realm, one that is transcendent, we would believe, given by God.
Well, I don't believe in objective morality. I do know there are plenty of atheists who are moral objectivists.
Are you an atheist? Sorry to interrupt. But
oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me just, can I ask you a question? And I know this is your first time at the mic, so I'm just going to try to be tender in doing this.
Okay, appreciate that.
So you don't believe in objective morality, right?
I personally don't.
Okay. Was the Holocaust objectively wrong?
Objectively, no, but it would have been better if it didn't happen, because most people wouldn't want that to happen.
So that's where we are on different planets. And that's okay. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm trying to be graceful in the way that we're going about this. Sure. Do you think Hitler was objectively evil?
No, because it's subjective.
But I just hope all of you guys understand he's being an honest atheist to your credit, because as an atheist, you're not allowed to say anything is objectively right or wrong. I come from a worldview that when you butcher 6 million people, that is objectively wrong no matter what. And it's very important. It's a very important truth claim, because when you do not have objective truth anchoring your society, then it becomes a power struggle. If you do not have truth, then power will reign. Whoever can get the most amount of power then ends up having the most amount of say over society. We believe what is objectively right, true, good, and beautiful should be transcendent over society. Your thoughts?
So do you believe objective morality specifically comes from the Bible?
Yes and no. It's in nature, and the Bible explains nature. So objective morality can be discovered in many different cultures and societies, pointing towards what we believe is the ultimate objective truth, Jesus Christ. C.S. Lewis explained this the best in his book Abolition of Man, which is that almost every religion talks about a certain way to live, a Tao, or a path that we should be on. And so more simply than just the Bible, we believe in what the founders believed, which is an ethical monotheism, that there is one God. He has a general way that he wants you to live. For example, murdering is bad, kidnapping is wrong, defense of the innocent, and we should do our best to try to live alongside of that path.
Okay, well, I think those are very interesting examples. You bring up the founders, you bring up Hitler, but Hitler was a self-proclaimed Catholic, and he called Nazism a Christian movement.
Yeah, I would be careful saying that. He was not. That's okay.
He called himself a Catholic. He specifically said in 1927, our movement is Christian. They had on the belt buckles God on our side.
Yeah,
they had to swear to the Almighty God. Atheists were not trusted to be in the SS.
Even if I grant you that, despite the fact that he killed a lot of pastors and priests, and there, of course, you can pervert things in the name of God. No one denounces that. Just as a side note, though, far more people died under the banner of atheism than Christianity in the 20th century. Mao was an atheist, Stalin was an atheist, Pol Pot was an atheist. Believing in no God actually led to the destruction and the murder of well over 100 million people. And that's fine. So, again, if atheists want to come alongside us as conservatives and fight for what is good, that is great. But I will never acknowledge that atheists can tell me what is objectively good. They can only give me a preference. They cannot tell me what is right. And preferences eventually will lead you towards moral and societal decline.
Okay, so I think you just listed a bunch of communists, and it's worth acknowledging the vast majority of atheists are not communists, just like the vast majority of Christians are not theocrats who don't support the divine right. It's also worth acknowledging that the founders were actually inspired by Enlightenment values, not by the Bible. America was founded as a secular nation. We were the first, quote-unquote, godless constitution.
Yeah, again, I've done this so many times, so I don't know if we want to waste our time doing this, but 55 out of 56 of the signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. 9 out of 13 of the states at the time of ratification required a declaration of faith in order for you to serve in the states. Our birth certificate, which is the Mayflower Compact, said explicitly, we are here to spread Christianity throughout the land. It was the first great revival that led to the American Revolution of Jonathan Edwards and Jonathan Mayhew and George Whitefield that preached all across the eastern seaboard. John Adams famously said the Constitution is written solely for a moral and religious people. It's wholly inadequate for the people of any other. We were a Christian nation that was able to embrace the idea of a free society. God is mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Not only that, Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Declaration of Independence, where it says we appeal to the divine judge of the universe, which of course is a direct appeal to Jesus in the book of Revelation. Yes, there were rationalist Enlightenment values that informed some of the founders, but it irrefutably was a Christian nation. Maryland was Catholic. Pennsylvania was Quaker. Almost every state had their own specific type of Christian preference. The idea of an atheist or not believing in any God was an idea that was so foreign to the founders. Even Thomas Jefferson, the great deist, he revered the Bible, albeit with some significant edits. However, the idea of believing in no cosmological or no axiological or no teleological or no ontological being would be a concept that our founding fathers would not just find foreign, they would find it extraordinarily dangerous. Why? Because the French Revolution was happening simultaneously as the American Revolution, which was explicitly atheist. They actually recreated their own gods and they said, we are going to appeal to what? The God of reason. And this is my final contention, is that when I talk to atheists, the French Revolution is a great example. They literally tried to change the Gregorian calendar to a 10-day week. They went and imprisoned people of faith. They put priests in jail, all these different sorts of things. And they said, we are going to appeal to the God of reason. Well, how did that work out? It worked out with the guillotine and the slaughter of tens of thousands of people. The French Revolution was one of the greatest disasters in human recorded history. Contrast that with the American Revolution. Why did the American Revolution create the greatest nation ever to exist in the history of the world? And the French Revolution resulted in a lot of blood and even the killing of their own once leader, Maximilien Robespierre. It's because we were anchored on Christian ideas. If you are not anchored on Christian ideas, then don't be surprised when all of a sudden there is no fruit to the harvest that you're trying to create. Thank you for your time. I want to try to get to the next question. Thank you.